of what Abraham had done. And just watch his mindset, because we're going to look at this. We're going to look at this man for a few minutes. Where are we at?
18.
Verse 18.
And
Genesis chapter 14, verse 18.
Melchizedek, king of Shalem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of El Elyon.
El Elyon. El Elyon is
Most High.
Most High.
El. We already talked about this.
Elohim.
It's short for Elohim, right? Then he repeats it.
King of God of God.
He's the Most High.
Yeah.
The Most High. Like other people, other spirits, other beings have been called El. But there's only one El Elyon. The Most High Yah.
Yeah.
That's what we were singing earlier. Right?
Yep.
And this is the priest of the Most High Yah. There's something significant about this. That he's just not just somebody that shows up out of the blue. All right.
I'm at 19. And he blessed them and said, Blessed be Abram of El Elyon, possessor of heaven and earth. And blessed be El Elyon, which has delivered your enemies into your hand. And he gave him tithes of all. And the king of Sedom said unto Abram, Give me the persons, and take the goods to yourself. And Abram said to the king of Sedom, I have lifted up my hand unto El Yahweh, El Elyon, the possessor of heaven and earth, that I will not take from a thread even to a shoe latchet, and that I will not take anything that is yours, lest you should say, I have made Abram rich, save only that which the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men which went with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre. Let them take their portion.
Okay, so let's jump to what am I looking for? Jubilees, chapter 14.
What you was asking me. Fourteen years.
Yes. We're going to get to 14. Jump back to 13. 13:22. Jubilees 13 and 22.
You ready?
What was there? Down there.
And in this year came Kedorlaomer, king of Eliam, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elaachar, and Tidal, king of nations, and slew the king of Amorah, and the king of Sidon fled. And many fell through wounds in the valley of Siddim by the salt sea.
Okay, so these are the same king, same story. Names may be different, but they're the same people. Okay? But it's the same story. Let's listen. 23.
And they took captive Siddim and Edom and Se'ebaim, and they took captive Lot also, the son of Abram's brother, and all
Okay,
his,
so they took Lot again.
and all his possessions, and they went to Dan. We went 13.
The tribe did?
Yeah, 13. And 13, chapter 13, verse 24. And one who had escaped came and told Abram that his brother's son had been taken captive, and Abram armed his household servants. For Abram and for his seed, 1/10 of the first fruits to Yahweh, and Yahweh ordained it as an ordinance forever, that they should give it to the priests who served before him, that they should possess it forever. And to this Torah there is no limit of days, for he has ordained it for the generations forever, that they should give to Yahweh the tenth of everything, of the seed, and of the wine, and of the oil, and of the cattle, and of the sheep. And he gave it unto his priests to eat.
Okay. Hold up a minute. Hold up a minute. So, when the word comes to Abraham, and I told you last week, this is like watching the Gospels, right? You read the Gospel, you hear the story, and you got to go to Matthew's and you see part of the story. Go to Luke and you see the other part of the story. Go to John, you see another part of the story, and you start putting the pieces together. Before you know it, you're like, oh, now I get it. Because you can't get it if you just listen to the one.
Mm-hmm.
This is called Little Genesis. That's the name for Jubilees. So Jubilees gives you insight on things that Genesis didn't give you. So in this particular view, after the fight, after the theft of Lot, after Lot was stolen, taken, Abraham he gathers his people, and then he sets something in line that we don't see anywhere else. He sets in order the giving to the priests. Verse 25. So immediately, instead of him saying, let's go get them, he offers a tithe to Yah. So this is so important, because giving to the priests before the law was written, before Moses came down and wrote the law. So she was out of sleep. So let's read that again. Start at 25.
Okay. For Abram and for his seed, a tenth of the first fruits to Yahweh, and Yahweh ordained it as an ordinance.
So Yahweh ordained it. He laid it out. He said, this is good. Go ahead.
Yahweh ordained it as an ordinance forever, that they should give it to the priests who served before him, that they should possess it forever. And to this Torah there is no limit of days, for he hath ordained it for the generations forever, that they should give to Yahweh the tenth of everything, of the seed, and of the wine, and of the oil, and of the cattle, and of the sheep. And he gave it unto his priests to eat and to drink with joy before him.
And this was important to bring up because Melchizedek's not mentioned. Okay, so Genesis gives you the story about Melchizedek. Jubilees gives you the mindset of Abram, or Abraham. His mindset was to give. And I said this last week because we Hebrew cheat, right? we don't want to give. And then some of us say, well, the tithes are over, right? Or we figure out ways not to be obedient. Ways not to, well, that was this or that was that. And you start trying to figure your way out.
Lord want me to have what I want.
Right.
Yeah.
You mean tell me that tithes is not done away with? No, it's not. Ooh, did I say that? Because you're okay. So if you look online, you're going to find teachers teaching Yah's word. Hebrew Israelites, right? They're teaching Yah's word. Do they not deserve to be rewarded? You're going to find it not to be offensive, but in the Christian walk, when they teach, guess what? They get paid. But they may do it twisted or whatever. But the people know that they're like, well, one thing we got to do is, and then there's certain churches, they're like, we pay our tithes. They'll tell you they pay tithes, but they also will tell you the law is done away with. So So now you got a question like, what are you talking about? So you can go into Malachi and you can read about the tithes. And I'm bringing this to your attention because I need to rightly divide the word, and I got to give you everything. So right here, we're seeing the ordinance that was set by Yah to pay to the priest or give to Yah, right? But it went in line with giving to the priest. All right, where are we at? We'll finish this chapter out, and then we're going to take a walk.
26. I'll do that again.
Mm-hmm.
And to this Torah, there is no limit of days, but he has ordained it for the generations forever that they should give to Yahweh the tenth.
Read that again, because
I'm sorry, 26.
it said something about limit.
And to this Torah, there is no limit of days.
Mm.
For he has ordained it for the generations forever that they should give to Yahweh the tenth of everything, of the seed and of the wine, and of the oil and of the cattle, and of the sheep. And he gave it unto his priests to eat and to drink with joy before him. And the king of Sedom came to him and bowed himself before him and said, Our Lord Abram, give unto us the souls which you have rescued, but let the booty be yours. And Abram said unto him, I lift up my hands to El Elyon, that from a thread to a shoe latchet I shall not take anything that is yours, lest you say, I have made Abram rich, save only what the young men have eaten in a portion of the men who went with me, Anna, Yechezk'el, and Mamre. These shall take their portion.
All right, let's take a walk. Because the book is written to who?
That's your word.
No, who's it written to? Us. Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. I thought you said something different. and so it's written to Yisra'el. It's written to us, right? It's written for us and it's written to us. And if you think that's not true, we're going to read the book. And I love this book because the book of Hebrews. Averine. It's like, in case you missed it, in case you forgot. Yeah, this book is written to you, and I got one particular book that I want you to pay very close attention to. So let's go to chapter 6.
You have a particular verse?
Hold on a minute. Yeah, verse 1.
Okay. That's all a
Tricky,
good
wasn't
place to start, right? Novel thought.
Therefore,
leaving the principles of the doctrine of Mashiach, let us go on unto perfection, not laying again the foundation of repentance from dead works and of belief toward Yahweh, of the doctrine of immersions and of laying on of hands and of resurrection of the dead and of eternal judgment. And this we will do if Yahweh permit. For it is impossible for those who were once enlightened and have tasted of the heavenly gift and were made partakers of the Ruach HaKodesh and have tasted the good word of Yahweh and the powers of the world to come, if they shall fall away, to renew them again unto repentance, seeing they execute again to themselves the son of Elohim and put him to an open shame. For the earth which drinks in the rain that comes off upon it, and brings forth herbs, meat for them by whom it is dressed, receives blessings from Elohim. But that which bears thorns and briars is rejected, and is nigh unto cursing, whose end is to be burned. But beloved, we are persuaded better things of you, and things that accompany Yeshua, through we thus speak. For Elohim is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which you have showed toward his name, and that you have ministered to the Kodashim, and do minister. And we desire that every one of you do show the same diligence to the full assurance of hope unto the end, that you be not slothful, but follow them who through belief and patience inherit the promises. And for when Elohim made promise to Abraham, because he could swear by no greater, he swore by himself, saying, surely blessing, I will bless you, and multiplying, I'll multiply you. And so, after he had patiently endured, he obtained the promise.
And you're going to find that this is a key word when you deal with the life of Abraham. That he patiently, if you read through the book of Jubilees, it talks about how patient he was. So that because it was famine. We start crying as soon as we don't have enough money for groceries this week. Right? Or we don't.
Cereal.
Yeah, cereal. Our nefesh starts screaming and crying for something that really
right now.
you're okay, you've been all right. You got something else to eat, but no, you got something that's in your my taste buds is tingling for steak, right? But he went through famine. At one point, his wife was taken from him. Jubilees talks about how long. Because Genesis doesn't say how long. It just said that he took his wife was taken from him. But he never complained. He never, he was patient. And Yah allowed him to go through some of the things that he had to go through to show the character of the man. Okay, can I flip the script? Yah has allowed you to go through some of the things you're going through to show your character. See, we got to take it personal because some of the times things just don't go our way. They go in Yah's way because all things are worked out for the good for those who love Yah.
Right.
Are called according to his purpose. He's making it work out for you. But it just don't feel comfortable. Do you think it was comfortable when Shaul was placed in prison? Do you think it was comfortable when Peter was hanged upside down? Do you think it was comfortable when, by faith, if you go to Hebrews and you read through the by faith chapter, it says some were cut asunder, some were cut in half. We don't operate by what we see. We operate by what we don't see. Because if we don't mix it with faith, and we just see what we see, it's not going to turn out to be a pretty thing. We see things happening today that sometimes makes your stomach curl. Right? Verse 15. Hebrews 6:15.
And so, after he had patiently endured, he obtained the promise. For men truly swear by the greater, and an oath for confirmation is to them an end of all strife, wherein Elohim, willing more abundantly to show unto the heirs of promise the immutability of his counsel, confirmed it by an oath, that by two immutable things in which it was impossible for Elohim to lie, we might have a strong consolation, who have fled for refuge to lay hold upon the hope set before us, which hope we have as an anchor of the soul, both sure and steadfast, and which enters into that within the veil, whither the forerunner is for us entered, even Yahusha, made a high priest forever after the order of Melchizedek.
Now we're coming back to Melchizedek. So let's look at this for a minute. We're not going to read the whole chapter, but let's go through chapter 7.
Hebrews?
Yes, same book. Yes.
For this Melchizedek,
Because he brought him up. So he brought him up. So now we need to know who he's talking about. And we talked about him earlier, so we need to know a little bit more about Melchizedek.
for this Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of El Elyon, who met Abraham, returning from the slaughter of the kings, and blessed him, to whom also Abraham gave a 10th part of all, first being by interpretation king of righteousness, and after that also king of Shalem, which is king of peace.
So the two attributes of Yah that we really need to be interested in is that he's the King of peace. If you're walking right, you should have shalom in your heart. If you're not walking right, that's why you have depression and your anxiety and you need your fear, anger, right? If you're walking right, you should have shalom. And the other one is righteousness. He's the King of righteousness. So even if you see unrighteous, Yah is going to make it right. When you see the case in point, someone was the police officer that shot the guy and they put him away for a few years, right? Yah has got to make that right, because that's still not right. That's still not justice. Then, you know, the most recent one, 16 shots in the back, right? While the guy was walking away, and they give him 7 years. And then he goes home to be with his family, he'd be okay. Yah's not going to look at that and say, "Oh, well,
Walter Scott.
that's over with." No.
No, it just happened.
No, his name is Van Dyke. Yah's not going to let that just go away, because he's a righteous Yah. He's righteous. You can't do wrong, especially to his people. There's a special place in the heart of Yah for his people. That has always been the case ever since the time he first called Abram. He's always had a special spot. I have a special spot in my heart for my children. If 5 people are attacked, I feel sorry for them. But if my daughter's there, now I'm like, oh no, My son's there, I'm jumping up. Because there's a special spot in my heart that I gotta try to make this right. These people don't realize there's a difference. And the more you walk with Yah, you'll start realizing that Yah has a special place for the Yehudim, special place for us. And some people are only here. They're designed for disaster. You can talk to them till you're blue in the face. They were designed not to go. There's no salvation for them. I know some people think, no, this is incredible because he said he came to save the whole world. Figure it out. Where are we at?
3.
Verse 3.
Without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but made like unto the Son of Elohim, abides a priest continually. Now consider how great this man was, unto whom even the patriarch Abraham gave the 10th of the spoils. And truly, they that are of the sons of Levi, who receive the office of the priesthood, have a commandment to take tithes of the people according to the statutes, that is, of the brethren, though they come out of the loins of Abraham. But he, whose descent is not counted from them, received tithes of Abraham, and blessed him that had the promises. And without all contradiction, the less is blessed of the better. And here, men that die receive tithes, but there he receives them, of whom it is witnessed that he lives. And as I may so say, Levi also received tithes, who also received tithes, paid tithes in Abraham, for he was yet in the loins of his father when Melchizedek met him. If therefore perfection were by the Levitical priesthood, for under it the people received the Torah, what further need was there that another priest should arise after the order of Melchizedek, and not be called after the order of Aaron? For the priesthood being changed, there is made of necessity a change also of the priestly regimen. For he whom these things are spoken pertains to another tribe, of which no man gave attendance at the altar. For it is evident that our Adonai sprang out of Yehuda, of which tribe Moshe spoke nothing concerning priesthood. And it is yet far more evident for that after the similitude of Melchizedek, there arises another priest, who is made not after the regimen of the command of the flesh, but after the power of an endless life.
Hallelujah. Now we can go on into that, but what we're actually looking at is that the only order that was changed is the ordinance of sacrifices, because he gave his blood himself, Yahushua. He was the new sacrifice, the ultimate sacrifice. But that never washed away our commitment to giving to the priest. We still have our obligation to give to Yah. Let's go to one last place. I'm coming back to Genesis, but let's stop back at Malachi. Since we're talking about tithes, because there were three things that I shared with my wife earlier today. There's three things I really wanted to try to address here. And one was the tithes, one was Melchizedek, and the third was the promise, the 400-year promise. And I'm probably going to hit on the 400-year promise off and on for a lot in the next, throughout this year, because we're walking in the 400-year promise. So, I can never find Malachi in this book. Malachi, the 3rd chapter.
Malachi is it's with the 12. It's the last book. It's right after Zechariah and before Solomon. Or you can use the table of contents.
Yeah, it's not like that in this book.
That doesn't hurt later.
I know it now. I've seen it too many times. It's page 1022.
Now, side topic. This is they made this book in chronological order.
Yes,
So everything is chronological all the way to Revelation.
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah,
I never-
because when you get to the book before Matthew's,
Yeah.
the Maccabees.
All right. Yeah.
All righty.
What chapter you want?
3. You want to know verse one?
I might as well start at 1 to be on the safe.
Well, that's good. That's good. Behold,
Behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me. And Adonai, whom you seek, shall suddenly come to his temple, even the messenger of the covenant, whom you delight in. Behold, he shall come, says Yahweh Sabaoth. But who may abide the day of his coming? And who shall stand when he appears? For he is like a refiner's fire, and like fuller's soap. And he shall sit as a refiner and purifier of silver, and he shall purify the sons of Levi.
a neat way of telling you how to turn. God has a neat way of telling you how to return. Turning back to Yah is turning back to Torah. It's the same thing. So you think just turning to God and getting on your knees and getting up and saying, I accept such and such and blah, 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 that you saved, but your life hasn't changed. And then we look at you, me, myself, and I, we look at you and say, like, you can't be saved because you still carrying on like that because you haven't turned back to Torah. True repentance is going back, turning away from your direction that you're going. And the only person that's directing you into a way back to him is his Torah. If you don't turn back to Torah, see, this is what's happening now. Now they're teaching, they're beefing up their walk, their talk, and telling you, please don't keep the law. But if you don't keep the law, you're turning away from God. Yeah. How are you turning away from him and saying that you're turning to him? It's like it's like this crazy puzzle that you're trying to solve.
It's about living according to the evangelical Christian church, the appearance.
Right. You're not turning back to him by dressing a certain way.
Worshiping on Sunday.
Yeah, and worshiping on Sunday. You're turning back to him by turning back to the law. You're not turning away from him. And they're saying, turn back, tell me why or how is it possible to tell you to turn away from his law, but that's turning back to him when 2/3 of the book is saying, keep the law. Okay, so you having a problem with that, but how can you have a problem with Shabbat? Because everywhere in the book, from the front to the end, there's nowhere does it say not to keep Shabbat. That's just one. It's nowhere. It's nowhere. Every week I'm going to talk about two things. I'm going to talk about Shabbat. I'm going to talk about pigs. Don't like it? Turn to the other channel. Because he says, don't eat a certain thing. He tells you when to worship. He tells you what not to worship. He gives you commandments, not requirements or suggestions. He gives you commandments. From day one, he is the one, he is the creator of all. He has made all, and he says, this is what I command you to do. And when does the creation take charge over the creator and tell him, no, I don't think so. That's, what do they say when an agent breaks the law and goes rogue? Is that what you said? Yeah, we're rogue agents. We just go and do what we want to do. If you did that in the government, you swore to the court on a stack of Bibles that you would do everything to honor the nation. And then you go rogue on the nation. What do you think the nation does? They kill her. They kill you. They send an agent out to kill you.
Treason.
It's treason. Whole bunch of you are treason. Treasonous. It's treason. Whatever. And you think that it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. That's what you say. How dare you? You're not. You don't really care. Right?
You know my heart.
Yeah, he know my heart. Okay, so we say that about you because you worship on Sunday, which is against one of his laws. But we keep not only the laws, we keep the statutes and the commandments. Statutes. So he lays certain things out for us. He tells us you should honor your parents. Not only honor your parents, the widow needs to be taken care of. The widow, okay, where's that? That's not in the Ten Commandments. It's part of this statute. We take care of the widow. We take care of the orphans. We take care of The poor. I mean, that's what we call it out, right?
Yeah.
This is what we're supposed to do.
Yep.
Because this is what he asked us to do. He said for us to love Yah with all our heart and love our brother as,
Love them agree.
Acts 2, Acts 4.
right?
Bearing each other's burdens.
Bear each other's burdens.
Mm-hmm.
That's our responsibility. As a Hebrew, that's our responsibility. When you're in camp, you're part of us. You're part of us. You're in. You're on the inside. We can't let you. You're part of our word family. Mispakah. Thank you. I'll mispronounce it. You know. You're part of our mispakah. You're part of our family. You're inside. We're going to take care of you before we take care of the outside. That's our responsibility. Where are we at? We weren't
He was
reading.
in Malachi.
We were in Malachi chapter 3.
Once upon a time. Oh, that's a different book.
We stopped at 7.
We stopped at 10?
7.
7.
He says, even from the days of your fathers, you are going away from my ordinances and have not guarded them.
Okay, you've gone away from the ordinances and not guarded them.
Malachi.
I have to stop there because ordinances, they're rules, right? Guarded them. Which one did he say guard? Shabbat. Right? He literally says guarded. And don't forget about it, but guarded.
Protected.
Chapter 3, verse 6, 7. Read.
Even from the days of your fathers, you are going away from my ordinances and have not guarded them. Return unto me, and I will return unto you, says Yahuwah Sabaoth. But you said, wherein shall we return? Will a man rob Elohim? Yet you have robbed me. But you say, wherein have we robbed you? In tithes and offerings. You are cursed with a curse, for you have robbed me, even this whole nation. Bring you all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in my house, to prove me now herewith, says Yahuwah Sabaoth. If I will not open the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive. And I will rebuke the devourer for your sakes, and he shall not destroy the fruit of your ground, neither shall your vine cast her fruit before the time in the field, says Yahuwah Sabaoth. And all nations shall call you blessed, for you shall be a delightsome land, says Yahuwah Sabaoth.
Has anyone gardened? One of the worst things you can do is have your plants bear fruit in an off season, either before it's time or too late. Because if it's before it's time, it won't grow properly. Too late, it probably a frost will hit it. So you're like, oh man, what did I do wrong? So right now, the important time for you in gardening is you find an almanac, you find when is the new moon, you find everything you can so that you can plant it right. You find the appropriate time to plant so that when it grows, that it bears fruit in its appropriate time. That's important. Or you just wasted all your labor. And Yah says, how does a man rob? You have robbed me. And we say, how? We didn't rob you. Go back up a little bit. To 11.
And I will rebuke the devourer for your sakes, and he shall not destroy the fruits of your ground, neither shall your vine cast her fruit before the time in the field, says Yahuwah Sabaoth.
Okay, so and then let's talk about the devourer. Let's talk about gardening. There are so many diseases. You see, we grow our own plants. We do it organically, right? So There's stuff that will come and destroy your plant, and you won't even know what's in it. And you look underneath your plant, and there's a worm there. If you don't have it properly taken care of, you got grubs coming in. You got all kinds of stuff. This world will destroy everything, right? So if you had the possibility of knowing, like, I can make sure that if I do this one thing, I won't have to worry about anything happening. I think, what is it, flour? Baking soda or flour or something you put on some of your plants? I'm asking you.
No, sometimes I put flour.
You put flour on the plants. And then if the worms start eating the flour, right, it causes them to die. Clogs up on the inside. So you don't have to use any chemicals. Right? So Yah says, I will stop. I will take care of you so you won't have some of the things that we suffer. Name them. High blood pressure,
High cholesterol.
high cholesterol,
Diabetes.
diabetes,
Poverty.
poverty,
How about that? Come on.
what else? Cancer, anxiety. You have, all right, so this week I decided to turn on regular TV. And I looked,
Dun, dun, dun.
I looked at the news, I looked at Jeopardy, I looked at a few other shows, and I thought maybe it's because it's at a certain time of the day. So I got up in the next morning, I turned on the TV, and I saw the same thing. I turned it on at midday, and I saw the same thing. And I'm like, this is crazy. I said to my wife, they're drug dealers. They're everywhere. You can't turn on the TV without the commercial coming on and take Xanax. Take Xanax. And they got me going, and you take this pill and it'll stop you from hallucinating. Really? Well, you may be depressed afterwards. Then you take this, the other channel comes on and take this pill. And it's like, that person drugs worse than the corner. You don't have to leave the house.
Hard, yep.
That person needs drugs. Hard. Xanax. Name some of the pills. I can't name them.
Humira,
Yeah, that's what
Wellbutrin.
Yeah, you name it.
There's Ativan, there's lorazepam, there's
Yeah, you just stay out of TV. And they don't say it's going to heal. They say it will stop maybe this one thing that you got going on.
But may close
But
it up.
they got 10 side effects. They're like, don't take this. Don't take this if you're driving. And if you have started hallucinating, or if you start feeling like you want to kill yourself,
Take this
or
stuff.
if you, I'm like, why I want to take this?
Don't say it like that.
Excuse me. I'd rather deal with.
Don't take this if you have a history of depression, but it's for your depression.
It's really, and Yah says, I got a secret ingredient.
Be obedient.
Turn back to Torah. Pay your tithes and offerings to Yah. And I will turn away, chase away the devourer. You only have that. There was a wicked king. I can't go there. There was a wicked king that got sick. Instead of calling for Yah and calling for the priest, he called for his doctors. Isn't that crazy? Because we'd rather call the doctor. I got a headache. Anybody got any? Where's your medicine cabinet? Right? And you're dropping pills. You're dropping so many pills that I remember a time when I walked into someone's house and they had like 20 pills. That was for the morning. I was like, really? All these pills? And then we had to go back to the doctors with this particular person and say, he's got too many pills. Went to another doctor and they're like, they over prescribing too many medicine because they give you one and then you got to give another one because the other one didn't.
Cause this and that's
I thought I was crazy, right? Because when I was younger, I remember taking the pill to make me happy and taking the pill to make me sad. I didn't go to the doctor for this, right? But we have we have macho medicine. Go to CVS. You can get so much over the counter, and if that don't work, call the doctor, and he'll call you in a prescription. They'll call you in a prescription without even seeing you.
Stronger stuff.
Yes.
When y'all says right there that I will rebuke the devourer for your sake, not for himself, for your sake. Okay, just the heads up. I'm 60 years old. I'm asking. I think I'm 61. 61? Did she say 61?
Yes.
Wrong answer.
51.
And I take right now, praise Yah, no medication.
Crazy guy.
And that's not something that I want to brag on because I want to get to 100 and take no medicine.
Yeah.
Because in the book, they reach 100, 170. Still out there. Abraham. We're talking about Abraham, and we're going to get back to the book. But Abraham gave birth to his son when he was what?
Was Isaac? Isaac or Ishmael?
Who?
Yeah, he was 100 on Isaac.
He was 100?
100 for Isaac and 85 for Ishmael, right?
Or 60.
Yeah.
Abraham, right? No?
Yeah, we gotta get
He was
old.
really, really old.
He was he said to Yah, my wife, you know how old she is? She 80. And you talking about her having given birth to somebody?
They're 10 years apart.
Right? And he said, nah, she gonna do it. And she sure enough did it. What was really amazing is that after Sarah died, Abraham got married again and had, what do you say, about five more kids?
5 more kids, yep.
Wait, what?
Keturah.
Yeah. He said, wait, what?
After Sarah died, he married Keturah. After Sarah died, he
So
married
Abraham,
It's in
with no Viagra, and no whatever else they had to offer, right? Just was able to pump out some more babies. 5 more babies.
You know what? That's herbs for me.
I'm not looking to have a child at 100 or 60.
Your wife
But
will
just-
pass out.
But just know that,
But they didn't live like that.
just know that Yah is able to do what we think is impossible.
Right.
Because everybody else is sick, don't mean you have to be sick.
I don't do.
What?
I don't do sick.
No.
I'm sorry.
And trust me, walking in Torah extends
Those are
your
fine
life.
words. We need to be real clear.
I was at the Reading Terminal and I saw one of my cousins. Walked right next to him and he didn't recognize me. He said because of the hair on her face. But when he didn't recognize me, I remember the day when he was super handsome. And I saw him that day and he had stuff shoved up his nose, carrying a tank.
Oxygen.
And I'm like, oh wow. because that just is really what is going to happen to all of us if we don't walk in Torah. Not just that, but I can start naming all the sicknesses, and he's not very much older than me. Change your diet, exercise right, but most of all, walk in Torah.
There you go.
There's your walk. Walking every day.
Let Yah direct your footsteps. If Yah directs your footsteps, he'll direct your diet. You'll not want to walk. You'll not want to eat wrong. You'll find a desire to live right. You know, we hear about that. We go to church and talk about I'm saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost. I'm like, really? Weren't you just eating pig? And you say you saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost? That's a lie.
Bold-faced black body.
You're not filled with the Ruach. You're filled with something. That's a pig-faced lie. Verse 13.
Your words have been stout against me, says Yahweh. Yet you say, what have we spoken so much against you? You said, it is vain to serve Elohim, and what profit is it that we have guarded his ordinance, and that we have walked mournfully before Yahweh Sabaoth? And now we call the proud happy. Yeah. They that work wickedness are set up. Yeah. They that tempt Elohim are even delivered. They that feared Yahweh spoke often one to another, and Yahweh hearkened and heard it. And a sefer of record was written before him for them that feared Yahweh, and that thought upon his name. And they shall be mine, says Yahweh Sabaoth, in that day when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them, as a man spares his own son that serves him.
Hallelujah.
Then shall you return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serves Elohim and him that serves him not.
When you start walking with Yah, the discernment shoots up. You can start to figure out who's walking with Yah and who's not. You can tell sometimes by just the way they walk. But the more you get closer to it, the more that discerning starts showing up. You start saying something about shrimp. You start saying something about lobster. You start saying something about keeping Shabbat. Just start talking with them, and you'll be able to distinguish between what's righteous and what's not righteous, what's holy, kadesh, and what's not holy. What's the word that I'm looking for?
Set apart.
D. What's the word I'm looking for? Blessed.
Lord help us.
Uh-huh.
Barak.
Thank you. You'll start figuring out what's Barak and what's not. Because everything's not Barak. Everything's not blessed. Everything's not Kadesh. You know what Kadesh is, right, D?
But is it our place to go looking for people that aren't living right, to go judging people?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, it is. Good question. Good answer. Yes.
Is it our, what was the question again? He said, is it our
It's
place
our job to judge others.
To go looking to judge others, or go looking for the people who are doing wrong, who are in the nation or outside the nation, versus
Judge who's doing right, who's doing wrong.
We're supposed
have to
to
help
share
people.
we're supposed to share truth.
Share truth and in share.
I'm giving my good information to people who are listening, right? So it is the discern. You are judging that. I think a lot of times people get caught up with, don't judge me, you can't judge me.
It's stigmatized.
Yeah, but you have to judge. Like, I've been in situations where I'm like, okay, I see this person's giving me information, but I can see you're not doing it. So do I need to sit under that? You know what I mean? Like, or for my children, I see your friends are saying these things. I have to make judgment decisions that keep them out of harm's way. So we have to do that. Now, do we have the ability to say, you're going to hell? Like, I think there's a
No,
line
leave that for
that
the
way.
elder.
Yeah. Yeah, you know. Yes, I think that's a difference. And I think where people get caught up and you don't have the right to, but you do, because I'm accountable for me, and until they're a certain age, I'm accountable for them. So in my circle, or I think we were having the other conversation, we see somebody comes into our family and it doesn't seem right, it's our accountability, it's our responsibility to say, hey, what's up? Because he will come into the camp, or she will come into the camp and disrupt the whole camp. So we have to make that decision.
And as the elder, I judge everybody in here. I look at everybody. I be passing judgment.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
As not the elder, I judge traffic when I walk across the street, and everything you do. It's like if you never seen a spider before and one just drop out the ceiling, you gonna respond and react to the stimuli.
Dog one right there.
We get. Some people ain't afraid of spiders, but we get content with the person who finds contempt with something. But then it's like, nobody ever really take time when you say, oh, you passing judgment, you being judgy, or you not patient. What do the Torah say about how people supposed to conduct themselves? That's just silence all
That's it.
contempt for judgment.
I think part of that too.
So
is just
Go ahead.
I think part of it is just not like looking for people to judge, but also just like at a certain point you see something and your brain registers like, that's not proper,
Right.
like that's not correct, and that in itself I feel like is a judgment. And then you have the if you may not like, it could be something you see in passing traffic, or it could be somebody like telling you something like, and you just like, oh no, I don't think that's correct, or that's not probably not the best way to go about that. Not like, like finger pointing, hollering at people,
not
like
the bullhorn.
right.
Yeah.
That goes back to loving your brother as loving yourself, because if you love yourself, you're going to make sure you're in the right standing with the Most High to make sure you know where your soul is going. So if you love someone, you give that information to make sure that their soul is right too, because that's the part of us that lives on. That's a lot of that brotherly love. We talk about it, loving one another, but if you're not telling them they're wrong, do you really love them?
But I think it's also important to remember that because I think I've done it the wrong way. Well, I've actually made statements like, they're going to hell, like, you know.
I know.
I've done that. I'm like, I don't care, it's the truth. But I think, when the Bible says, judge lest you be judged, at the same measure, you'll be judged as well. So, as we are judging and looking at people's lives, we've got to look at our own lives as well. Make sure we are living right, we're being holy, we're being righteous, we're following Torah, you know what I mean? Because it's easy to find fault. It's so easy, we can do it, we found it in ourselves. But it's not easy to look in the mirror and like, you know what? I ain't right, I gotta
That's why
change
you get
this.
lenient.
You slipped
Yeah.
in.
Right.
You slipped in.
So the goal is not to lower the standard.
Right. The
The goal is to keep the standard high for ourselves,
That's right.
so that before I can say anything to somebody else, I don't need 3 fingers pointing back at me and saying, look at what you've done. Right? So I have to make sure that I'm above reproach
Yep.
before, and that's what I'm already called to do that anyway.
The word judges us all.
Right. So I don't lower the standard. Shaul said in 1 Corinthians or 2
It's
Corinthians,
first. I'm right here. It's
All right.
first.
he said, I'm not even there with you. Paraphrase it. Chris need to read it, but paraphrase it. But he said, I'm not even there with you, but I've already judged the matter. I'm not there. Because we don't want to judge, and we in that situation in Corinth, they lowered the standard. They're like, it's okay, or we're not going to say anything. And he's like, whoa, back it up, dude. And he's not there, and he already passed judgment. And so we say, we can't pass judgment. When you see wrong is wrong, and right is right. You got it, Christina, but you got to be real quick, because I want to finish.
No, Paul, he's long, so it's long-winded.
where he says, but with me is,
Chapter verse, please.
I'm sorry, 1 Corinthians 4.
Mm-hmm.
Let a man so account of us as of the ministers of Mashiach and stewards of the mysteries of Yahweh. Moreover, it is required in stewards that a man may be found faithful. But with me is a very small thing that I should be judged of you or of any man's judgment. Yet I judge not my own self, for I know nothing by myself. Yet am I not hereby justified? But he that judges me is Yah. Therefore judge nothing before the time until Yahuwah come, who both will bring to light the hidden things of darkness and will make manifest the counsels of the hearts. And then shall every man have praise of Yah. And these things, brethren, I have in a figure transferred to myself and to Apollos for your sake, that you might learn in us, not to think of men above that which is written, that no one of you will be puffed up for one against another, but who makes you to differ from another? What have you that you did not receive? Now, if you did receive it, why do you glory? This may be the wrong thing.
Yeah, it sounds like it is, but
It is the wrong thing, yeah.
Can I say something? Because 4:3 says not to judge or think.
So, but he's like, when you're looking further, like you really have to go like from chapter 1. You really have to read all of Corinthians, like you really do, because he talks about, because he does talk about judging one another. But he that is spiritual judges all things. Chapter 2, verse 15. For who has known the mind of the Ruach Yahuwah that he may instruct him? But we have the mind of the Ruach Mashiach. That's chapter 2.
That's judging in your mind versus judging.
No, he says, right, he who is spiritual judges all things.
okay. Is this on pause? Oh, okay. So we got to close out.
It's the director's cut.
It's directed. So we live. We living it live.
The messages took it.
Let's read three little verses. Okay, 3 chapters. I need 3 people to find them. You go to Jubilees 14:13. Genesis 15:12. Acts 6 and 7. I will have fulfilled my going to a house party. We out? And going to a house party. Flicker those lights, please. You would get that. And you know what that was? You know what that flicker of the lights was?
Get ready to go home.
The music.
Party's over.
Start wrapping it up.
Right.
Oh, that was the
And we'd be down in the basement. We be jamming, right?
Yeah, wrap it up.
And we get, oh
to wrap
man.
it up. Let's go.
Yeah. And
Get your stuff.
we had the Ozzy Brothers on.
Yeah.
We be jamming, right? And the light would flicker. They'd be like, oh man. You know what that means. Everyone knows what that means.
Folks will call your mom.
Right?
You ain't got to go home.
Karen, what you doing down there? Get off there. Right? You be like, oh my God. And people be all embarrassed. People be like, oh my goodness, mom's here. Mom, don't come inside. Meet me down the street. You give mom the wrong address. Right?
Wow, y'all did that?
I thought you were going to be, you come running down the street, get in the car, let's go. So that nobody saw where you were at, right? Party's over. 400 years. The party's over. The light's flickering.
Party's over.
They know it. They know something's going down. The party is over. So if they know the party's over, even Donald Trumpy is saying, Donald Trumpy, he's saying, we're going to have this special thing for everybody because it's 400 years since we had these Hebrews up in here, and he probably could change the H to an N, but you know, it's 400 years. We got to do something special for them. They came here as indentured servants, and now look at, right? Yeah, that's what
right.
Donald Trump would say, right? And
That's
so,
what they're putting in textbooks now.
yeah, so we know that the 400 years is up. They know it's up. And so the eyes of the Hebrews are waking up. This is happening around the world, right? So as we wake up, we got to learn to do right. Not only do we know who we are through the blood, but what does the word say?
Right.
So every time we get together and we start finding out more truth, we have to start changing. Here is a secret. I have a secret. I'm going to close this out with a secret. Yah does things in cyclical fashion. If you read through the book, he comes on certain days. He visits on certain days. He's always done this. If you read through the book, the new moon was special to Yah. Read through Jubilees and see how many times it talks about the new moon.
Yeah.
It was something special, like Yah moved on certain days. It was the new moon and so you can almost pinpoint the days that Yah was going to move. It happened in Moses' time, and guess what? It happened in Abraham's time. Those same feast days, we didn't go there, but Abraham kept the feast days before Moses. The feast days didn't just happen at Passover. Pesach was kept prior. First fruit offerings was kept. Read the book. Read the book, Jubilees. You're going to find that, that the feast days did not occur just because Moses showed up. Guess what? Sabbath didn't just happen because he created the planet. Sabbath occurred in the heavenlies before he created the planet. When we came and he rested, he rested on a day that was common for him to rest.
And they still celebrate it in heaven when we do it.
As it is in heaven, so shall it be on earth. So the things that were happening in heaven, Yeshua says, look into the book. You're going to start seeing the things that were established in heaven. He wants that to be established on earth. That's why we're supposed to keep Shabbat. You can't change it because you can't change heaven. What's happening in the Shamarim, thank you. Right? Shamarim. Shabahim. Right? What's happening in heaven is supposed to happen in earth. We're missing it because we don't want to even keep the feast days. That we don't want to keep Shabbat. And then you're out of sequence. You're out of timing. You know, like a car's out of timing? You ever get a car that's out of time? It's running rough, right? Yeah.
Time and belt breaks, it ain't running.
It's not. If you find a car that's like that and you're driving it, it's due to die soon. It's not due to live for a long time. So this walk, this talk, this message is to try to get you in alignment with Yah. Because you're out of alignment. The book says, don't turn to the left nor to the right. Earlier we did this Shema, and Christina said it's like forefront, what do you call it? Frontlets on your face, stopping you from turning to the left or to the right. If you're out of alignment, if your car is out of alignment and you take your hand off the wheel, it goes to the left or to the right. Yah wants you to be in such an alignment that he can take the hands off the wheel and watch you continue to walk straight.
Oh my God.
And that's what Abraham did. That's what Noah did. And guess what? I'll pick that from right there. And that made for a perfect person. That made for perfection.
So you mean John's parents were walking in Torah?
Yes, they were.
Yes, they were.
That made for perfection. I pray that you learn to start walking it back in the middle, the center. Stop weaving off to the left or to the right. Because few there are that can find center and keep it. Shalom?
Shalom.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.